show. And I'm your announcer, Mikey E. And now, let's introduce your hosts. The guys that think once Spike Lee is done suing Spike TV, he'll have another lawsuit in the sights. Lee Jeans. Here they are. Ron Bennington. Fez Wally.
Brett Michaels.
Radio's Denim Brothers.
Wonderboy.
For the love of God, Wonderboy.
Don't let us down, Wonderboy. Don't let us down.
Wonderboy. Unless you play something else.
There it is.
We're going to have the stink of that last joke in our mouths.
Radio's Denim Brothers.
Action. I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell. I could have used a little more cowbell. I gotta have more cowbell.
I sip a guy's dick. I sip a guy's dick. I sip a guy's dick. I know you will, Harry. I know you will.
That guy named Rag?
That's a good pound for the big people.
I know, but they're sweaty pounds. He's losing pounds.
He's sweating to the moldies. Let me tell you something.
No! Wait! I'm the one who says things.
Oh, buddies.
Oh, buddies, it's the Ron and Fez show.
Hiya, buddies.
Radio at its most professional, radio at its finest.
Yep, another tape ready for the museum.
Oh, yeah.
The Museum of Radio and Television. One more to put in the Broadcasters Hall of Fame right there.
I hope there's some kind of sideshow Hall of Fame. Because our stuff could go there with the freaks and geeks.
Do they have a Stink on Ice exhibit where we could put our tapes?
Wonderboy, thanks for showing up late for that. That was worth it.
At least this time, for some reason, you didn't just go to complete dead air. You let some of the show open music keep playing.
Yeah, he's getting better at being bad.
He really is. He's practiced at it enough.
Wonderboy, what is going on in that room while we're trying to do a show?
I don't know. I listened to Mikey check.
Oh, we can't hear.
We can't hear you on that.
You'd have to hit one of the buttons.
Buttons?
He pushes the buttons on his shirt while we're up here.
And hope something happens.
I listened to Mikey check that card machine. We were running late. I called him up to make sure he had the right thing. No, I'm not diving Mikey at all. I'm saying I knew it worked. I heard the sound check. I checked to make sure it was queued up. I'm like, there's not a reason on earth this thing should not work tonight.
And
why are you dressed like John Tesh on a Carnival cruise?
It's just a light
That's way too many pastels for a young man. Way too many.
I was trying to change things up a little bit.
All right, so we got to the bottom of it. It's Mikey's fault.
No.
Thank you for being honest.
What I'm saying is I know Mikey checked it. It should have worked, and I have nothing but apologies. I don't know why it didn't work out.
It's bad karma, man. Bad karma.
All right, Fezzy. We got an early guest on tonight because of how confused we were this afternoon.
Yeah, during the 11 a.m. show, live on 106.7 WJFK, we tried to talk about the affirmative action decision for the Supreme Court, how they backed affirmative action by a vote of 5-4. Not a real wide margin there.
No, it's close.
And then brought up the fact that it shouldn't be based solely on race. So we wanted to talk about it,
right,
and then realized, oh, wait, we don't know anything about it.
Suddenly we felt as confused as the Supreme Court obviously is.
So we weren't sure exactly what to do, so we decided to go get an expert.
Hopefully what this means, Fezzi, is that the Supreme Court, they believe in affirmative action, but just for more white males.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a couple of jobs out there we don't have.
What I liked about the decision was Everyone applauded it. And I didn't understand why. President Bush applauded it.
Yeah.
People that are really, that work towards affirmative action applauded it. So for some reason, everyone was happy, and that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, I guess they finally made a way of making things work. Like King Solomon. The wisdom there is amazing.
I think they decided to cut black people in half like King Solomon did.
Fezzi, we have a guest tonight that's going to explain this all to us, what it exactly means.
That's right. From the National Women's Law Center. She was actually at the U.S. Supreme Court during the arguments back in April, and also attended the University of Michigan, which was at the center of this controversy. So you can't ask for better credentials.
It's very Forrest Gumpish when you think about it.
I know. Right place, right time, constantly. So we're going to talk to Akita Kantu Hinojosa. So I believe I did that justice.
I'm sure you did. Try it again, just to make sure.
Akita Kantu Hinojosa.
Nice. You've had a little Spanish training.
4 years of high school Spanish, Ronnie, and finally, I'm putting it to use right here on the Ron and Fez show.
Because now you can actually go anywhere in the world. Yeah. Anywhere in the world that you need to.
And for our Hispanic friends, it's Ronaldo y Fezelita.
Oh, I have no idea what that means.
That's Ron and Fez.
Now, the E, is that masculine or feminine that you throw before your own name?
E, that means and.
Oh, I didn't know.
It's just the letter Y, and it means and.
I never understand how in different languages it can be feminine or masculine.
Yeah, the Spanish thing is weird because every noun is either male or female.
Help me out here. What's a lamp? Is that a male or female?
I don't know how to say lamp. All right, but I'll go with table because I know how to say that.
Give me table.
La mesa. That's female. Table is female.
See, I would have guessed that as a chair, male.
A chair? I'm not sure how to say chair.
See, I'm always wondering, why would they decide something is male and something else is female?
Yeah, I don't know where it comes from. Now, of course, there's the ones that go either way. Like
Fez.
No. Like a sposa. That means spouse, but it's the wife because it ends in A. You could have an esposo, that's your husband, and it's the same word, spouse.
Well, that's actual people. I can understand why you would give them a sexual thing, but I never understood chairs and fields and every other noun.
Like El Lobo, that's a wolf, and that's masculine.
What about Los Lobos?
Very masculine.
All right, we have Akita on the line right now, Fez. We are going to ask her exactly what this means to affirmative action, because you and I are pretty much in the dark with this.
So we're going to finally learn something here. Akita Kantu Hinojosa.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Akita. Welcome to Ron and Fez. How are you?
Good.
You were there as the arguments were going on, right?
I was. And I've actually been with this case from the very start. I chose to attend the University of Michigan Law School specifically to take part in these cases.
Nice. You went looking for trouble.
I was. I'd lived through the effects of Hopwood, which eliminated affirmative action in the Fifth Circuit, and decided that I wanted to do something about it as a graduate student. So I chose Michigan in part, not only because it's a great school, but also because these cases were going on, and it gave me a great chance to see the law in action as a law student.
What exactly, for those of us that really don't know a lot about law or don't study law, what does this mean for most Americans?
What this means for most Americans is that affirmative action is preserved. This continues the promise of opportunity of our country, and these two decisions were really, really integral in making sure that the doors of opportunity are open for all Americans in our educational system. There were two cases, and it's very important to understand the distinctions between the two. There was Grutter versus Bollinger, which was the law school case, and Gratz versus Bollinger, which was the undergraduate case. So what the court did was they issued two rulings, two separate opinions on the same date, which was very helpful to be able to compare and contrast. Now, in Grutter, the law school case, that was decided in the law school's favor in a 5-4 ruling, and Justice O'Connor wrote for the majority. So the court in that decision, they upheld the principles of diversity, and they said that the practice of race-conscious affirmative action is fine and constitutional, and it found that the law school's admissions program, which gives it gives individual attention to each applicant's file, and it doesn't award points for race, they said that that was constitutional. The other case, Gratz versus Bollinger, was the undergraduate case. That case was decided 6-3, and Chief Justice Rehnquist wrote for the majority. Now, in that case, they still upheld the principles of diversity, and they still upheld the practice of race-conscious decision-making and affirmative action, but they struck down the means that the undergraduate program employed to achieve their diversity goal. So they said that the manner or the mechanism used by the school, which was a point system, was wrong and unconstitutional, but they agreed that race and ethnicity can be one of many factors in an admissions program. So that Grass case has been remanded or sent back to Michigan, and so the university kind of gets a second bite at the apple to try again to construct some kind of race-conscious program that meets constitutional standards. So that's where we are today with these two cases, and as an attorney, they're really an attorney's dream, because oftentimes the court will strike something down, in essence saying you can't do that, and then it'll leave the public wondering, okay, well, what can we do? Right. And here, in agreeing to hear both cases that involve two very different admissions policies and ruling in favor of one and against the other, the court has really articulated a really clear pronouncement of the ways that universities can consider race and ethnicity and take those factors into account. And by the law school accepting, by the court accepting the law school's program, it really offers a valuable roadmap for schools that are structuring their own affirmative action programs in the future.
Is that why everybody on both sides of this issue was happy?
Yeah.
And everyone applauded the Supreme Court?
Exactly.
Because I saw the affirmative action advocates saying, this is great, this is what we needed, this is what we wanted. Right. And then I saw President Bush saying the same thing. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, worlds are colliding here. Something's not adding up.
Yeah, it had a little something for everybody, because it said that you can still be race conscious, you can still take race into account. Bakke, the decision that ultimately, it said in 1978, 25 years ago, that you can consider race as one of many factors, but you can't use quotas. So that was 25 years ago.
What's the difference between affirmative action and a quota?
There are lots of differences. Affirmative action is not a quota. It is legal to use race as a plus factor, as one of many factors in an admissions decision, but it's unconstitutional to employ quotas or a separate admissions track. And in that Bakke case in 1978, that's when the court decided that. It outlawed racial quotas.
So,
in that case, there was a medical school, and it was setting aside a fixed number of seats for black students. And the court said, no, that's unconstitutional. That's a quota, because there's this fixed number of seats set aside for black students. You can't do that. What you can do is you can consider racial and ethnic diversity, because that's a compelling governmental interest, and you can take it into account as one of many factors, but it can't be the sole factor.
What are some of the other factors that go into affirmative action?
In terms of an admissions program, I mean, you still have to be a competent, qualified student. So you still have to do well on your standardized test scores.
Is that what they're going to look at first before they even get into race and economics or anything else?
Well, the Michigan program, for example, considers everything together. So it reads an applicant's file from beginning to end, including their resume, including the past jobs they've held, including their personal statement of why they want to go to law school, including their race, including their gender, including if they grew up on a farm or if they speak 6 languages or if they spent a summer abroad. So everybody qualifies for this diversity component. So even white people can be diverse.
All right. Well,
yay.
Yeah, because if you look at like a lot of the white guys who, for instance, listen to this station, they hear the words affirmative action, and you can see the panic on their face.
Right.
Why does affirmative action work for all of us? Why is it a good thing?
Oh, I could go on and on about why it's a good thing, and the court actually gave several reasons. First of all, a campus with many voices makes everyone smarter, and there was actually empirical data to back that up that was presented in the course of these cases. Also, a workforce that includes everyone builds a better economy, and so for the selfish capitalistic people out there that care nothing about, equality or civil rights or anything, just the bottom line kind of dollar aspect of it, a better economy comes out of diversity. And our government, if we think about political representation, our government really can't represent all of the people if it doesn't include all of the people. So we need to make sure that our nation's leaders are diverse and trained to be there. And as we've seen in recent months, a diverse military creates a stronger defense. So it's actually key to our national security. And military officials wrote an amazing brief actually in opposition to their commander-in-chief, President Bush, that said, at present, the military cannot achieve an officer corps that is both highly qualified and racially diverse unless the service academies and the ROTC use race-conscious recruiting and admissions policies. And they go on to say that it's essential to the military's ability to fulfill its principal mission to provide national security. So, you know, if that doesn't do it, I don't know what does in this day and age.
So who's ever getting, like, let's say the University of Michigan, who's ever getting in on affirmative action, it's not like that person doesn't deserve to be there anyway. They have the academic credentials to go to a university.
Definitely. Every student of color that's admitted to the university deserves to be there, because no matter how the door of opportunity is opened, it's still up to the student to succeed.
I would say this to you, Fez, and I'm willing to actually bet cash on it. I bet that there's more white kids that are rich, whose parents are connected, that don't belong in certain colleges than anybody else. And not that white people are stupid, but they're the ones that are connected.
See, I think when you brought up the point of white people that hear affirmative action and panic, I think they get a picture in their mind of a black guy who, you know, maybe barely got out of high school, who has never held a job, is going on a government teat, and is getting into the University of Michigan totally unqualified. I think that's the stereotype picture that runs through people's heads.
But, you know, I think that most people don't even believe in the fact that most of us either get our jobs or get into school because we're connected. Most people get their job because they've got an uncle in that place or they got a friend. But suppose you're coming from an area where you don't have anybody in the big joint. How else are you supposed to get in?
Right. So, I mean, like Harry Elvis, he goes to school because his dad was there.
Sure.
You know, even he has an in.
All right, Akita, thank you very much.
Yes, definitely.
We appreciate it. We'll have you back on again sometime, okay?
Sure, thanks.
Whenever we're feeling a little stupid, I want you to call us and just help us, all right?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Akita. Akita Kantu Inahosa.
Wouldn't you like to have a smart chick?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
She's really smart.
Yeah. I could have had a smart chick once, but then I went, you know, I'm going to go with the chick with the big breast.
Oh, okay.
You know, I just went in the other direction.
Well, you know, those decisions, they'll come up.
All right,
you didn't make the wrong one.
You know, we talked about this a little bit. Why don't we do a break? We'll open the phone lines up. What do you think about affirmative action? 866-277-4969. 866-277-4969. Where do you stand on this, Fez?
You know, I'm glad that it was explained to me, because I think I fell into that group of thinking that it was unqualified people getting into schools.
Right.
So I'm glad to understand that. And I had no idea what the difference was between a quota and affirmative action.
Right.
It just sounded to me like, you know what, no matter what the qualifications are, we have to take so many people of these races.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit more enlightened now.
All right, we'll open up the phone lines, 866-277-4969. It's the